Cafe Networking Podcast promotes entrepreneurs, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Riak, an American known as the King of Networking, podcasting and networking, connecting people and speaking from my studio in Brazil. Today we talk with Roland Pokornyik, and he's joining us from Budapest, Hungary. Roland Pokornyik is CEO and co-founder of Chamaileon, an email creation platform for teams. He regularly blogs and speaks about email design and related topics. So Roland, what makes an email stand out in the crowded inbox?
Hey Tom, happy to be here. Hello everybody. So when I talk about emails, I usually focus on marketing emails where you have the permission to send emails to people and not cold emails or sales emails, just to clarify this point. So I think what makes marketing emails stand out in an inbox, it usually starts with the from name, the subject line, and the preview text. This is quite obvious to marketers. I think what needs to be told about this part is especially the preview text, which is pretty much the first 2 or 3 lines of the email that you send to your subscribers. But you can totally customize it, so you can type in something different. You don't necessarily need to make the first 2 or 3 lines the preview text. So it's important to follow up the subject line actually in the preview text already. So if you have a catchy subject line, that's pretty much default for any marketing email because people won't care. I think we could talk like 2 hours only about the subject line. So just the key takeaway is that needs to be optimized and tested a lot. A/B test the subject line, no matter what, because you will see clear and big differences if you just replace one word. So once you have that part nailed and you're lucky enough to grab their attention, I think what really matters, although we stand for email design, my company, we help people create nice emails. The content does matter a lot. So if the content is crap, sorry to say, then no matter how nice it is, it won't resonate with your audience. So you need to personalize the content, not only the hey Tom part, but everything else. So you shouldn't be sending offers to everybody. Try to figure out who buys what and on what regularity. So if you have an e-commerce brand, just monitor your customers. What did they purchase previously? Obviously, this is not too easy. So you need to have a solid marketing automation and analytics approach in place. But if you do, and if you have that, then you'll be able to send emails that resonate with them properly. And I think moving from the outside into the email, what matters on top of this is the actual send time. So when do you send the email? On which day? What time of the actual day? I looked up some studies in this topic, and I saw that it's either sometime in the morning hours, 10 a.m. that works, or for some industries, it's rather the afternoon hours, 3 to 4, 5 p.m. But surprisingly enough, there are some industries where it's Saturday or Sunday. So there's no best practice in this sense either. So if you want to send 2 emails per week, my only advice would be to avoid sending emails on Monday, because that's usually when people try to catch up with emails that they left unanswered on Friday
or Saturday or Sunday.
And so Monday and Friday would be off, but the other days were completely fine. If you send 2 emails per week, be careful. That might be a bit too much for some of your audience. But if you do, then I would send on Tuesday and Thursday.
But then you can also send a follow-up. If I've sent an email, I could follow that up and say, hey, Tom, I sent you an email on Tuesday. I see that you have seen it, and I'd like to follow up on that. So that could be a way.
That's a way still. I don't see that too often for marketing emails, like newsletters, but what others say in the industry is that you can resend the same email with a different subject line if somebody hasn't opened it. Then you can do that in a day or two. So you have a higher chance to optimize the open rates of the original email.
Well, to the point that you mentioned of the time that they should be sent, and we're talking about a global businesses, and right now you're in Hungary and I'm in Brazil, and right here it's 9 a.m. So to that, you also have to know where the person is, where you're hoping to send to, and then time that sending, correct?
Correct. For this to know, I think you need to collect the IP address of the person when he or she subscribes to your list, and then label them with the country itself and a rough time zone. So that can be done. It requires you to segment your list properly and set up the sending according to those segments and the different time zones. It's not that easy, but I think it's still doable. So
yeah, there's literally businesses everywhere today, and depending on what you're offering, it could be received by anybody anywhere. But if you're sending it at 3 a.m. to a person, they may not see it.
Yes, exactly. And once you have the send time, the subject line, they open the email.
Right.
They will see it no matter what. And that's when the design comes into place, after you know that you sent the right content. And what we see that is getting more and more exciting for email marketers is to have an email design system in place, which means that you have your own email building blocks in place and you can produce emails fast. And this design system will help you not only to deliver on-brand messages, but also to be able to experiment with more different email types, different variations, because you can just compile a message in a matter of a few minutes instead of dealing with email creation for days or weeks. And I think
when you mention teams, that should be spread out to the team within your company. Everybody should have access to that.
Yes, at least those who, I say, marketers, designers, and copywriters should have access to a platform like the one that we provide. And that's where they can actually interact and build emails together as if they were using a Google Docs to, write any type of text. So if you have the same kind of system in place, then you have a great opportunity to optimize the hell out of your emails, and not only the look and feel, but different variations, because those will be easy to create. And if you still have a few minutes left, there are two new things, kind of new. I don't say that brand new, but two kind of new things in the email space. One is called BYMY, BYMY. It's a brand indicators for message identification. That's the lovely term. It just means that you have the option to display your logo next to your subject line in many email clients, including Gmail, Yahoo, Owl, Netscape, Fastmail, PO Box. Unfortunately, not Microsoft, so no Outlook yet. They usually lag behind. It requires a bit of setup, and I think it has a minimal fee associated with it. But if you feel that your brand can help you improve your email metrics, then it's worth time investing into setting up your BYMY record.
Well, I think that brings credibility back to a company, specifically with younger companies. So if a person receiving it sees that you do have a logo, that you seem to be structured, you're more believable.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and there's one other thing by Gmail. It's called Gmail Promotions tab Annotation. It gives you the opportunity to add extra information to your promotions, like an image, a discount amount, promotion and date, and the discount code. It's pretty easy to add. It requires some extra code to be added to the beginning of the message, and it is displayed to roughly 5 to 15% of your audience on Gmail mobile app email client. And especially if your email goes to the promotions tab, there's a likelihood that they will see this extra information show up.
Right.
Unfortunately, not for everybody. So
Right.
it's still up to Gmail to decide, but you can create this annotation either in a service like Chamaileon, or you can Google it, and there's pretty much a website provided by Google where you can create your annotation and just add it to the beginning of your email. So I think these last two tips are quite new or advanced. I would say the others might sound common sense for some people, but maybe it's good to have a checklist to say that, okay.
I think so. Yeah. And in any sense, it shows that emailing is dynamic and technology is dynamic. So it is also important to have someone like yourself in your company help follow the changes, because the change happens and we as a user may not be aware of that, specifically the last two that you mentioned. So to be on top, it's always good to have a person or a company like yours, right, Roland?
Yes, definitely. We blog about these things on the site. We are more of a software provider, so we give you the right tool to be able to create emails fast and be successful with those. But we give this kind of advice without any charge, so we don't try to be consultants or we don't try to be an email marketing agency. We are an email design platform.
Very good. So where can our audience find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I'm not too active on Twitter. I always promise to myself to be more active, but not yet. And also on our site, that's chamaileon.io, like, the lovely animal chameleon, just without the E in the middle. We have the mail added there. Yeah.
Very good.
.io. And
so Roland, thanks for being part of our show today.
Thanks for your time, and thanks everybody for joining.
And for our audience, again, it's Roland Pokornyik. It's Roland. The last name is Pokornyik. You find him on LinkedIn and his site, which is chamaileon.io. That's chamaileon.io. And there you also find a downloadable Handiest Email Design System Guide. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus Semi-Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information on their site, focusmi.com. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.